Well, good morning everybody here from Melbourne, Florida. I hope you can hear me. I just found out my microphone is not working, so I've got to get kind of close to the camera. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a local video here in Melbourne, Florida, so I'm doing one now. I'm on the grounds of what was once the Good House, which was Melbourne's first hotel, and we're going to talk about it, Richard Good, a few other people. We'll go visit them and pay our respects in the cemetery, and let's get on with it. Then I get home and figure out what happened here. So as I mentioned, this is the site of the Good House. It was built by Richard Good in 1884, and this was the area's first hotel. Now the Good House consisted of 12 rooms. Melbourne's first telephone switchboard was in one of the very front rooms of this hotel. Now the Goods ran the hotel for about 10 years when they sold it to Charles Campbell, who bought it in 1894, and he renamed it the Bellevue Hotel. Now it was under Campbell's ownership that the water wheel that you've seen in many of the postcards was installed, and that was when it was the Bellevue Hotel. Well, the hotel changed names once again in 1920 when it was renamed the Orange Spot Inn, when it was then owned by Harry Bosley. The hotel was destroyed by fire in 1927 and was not rebuilt. Now there's a small misconception that everything was on Front Street until the fire of 1919. And though there was important businesses there and locations, that's not exactly true. The Melbourne Yacht Club was formed south of Crane Creek in 1886. And the Little Red Schoolhouse, which I want to talk a little bit more later, it was also built south of Crane Creek in 1883. Now, of course, also on the south side of Crane Creek was a thriving African-American community that was growing by leaps and bounds, and that started around 1870. Now, with the railroad arriving in the early 1890s, Front Street's days as we know it were numbered, regardless of the fire. In places the north side of Crane Creek, a little bit further west, Huggins Store, the Gym Theater, the Miles Building, and another school, those were all up and running before the fire of 1919 on Front Street. Here is the Allen House that I had mentioned, 823 Melbourne Avenue. It's in a sad state of disrepair. Maybe they're renovating it, I'm not sure. I would love to go in there and explore it. I might look into that. There's your mailbox. Yeah, this home would have been here when the Good House was there. It would have been here obviously through the name change, the Orange Spot Inn, and you could have seen the fire of the Orange Spot Inn from this home. I'll pan back around, and right there is where the Good House was. So yeah, they would have had a heck of a view when the Orange Spot Inn caught on fire. So there's the Allen House. Well, here we are on the south side of Melbourne Avenue again. We're between Franklin and Oak Street, which is west of the Good House. And somewhere in here, Richard Good had a cabin. He had lots of land. Somewhere in here was his cabin. Don't know where the marker, just like the Orange Spot Inn marker, the marker is gone. Excuse the traffic, but I'm just going to let it go. About a quarter mile down the street that way, and then on the left-hand side is the Good House. So not too far of a walk, drive, buggy ride, I don't know, whatever. Something to find interesting as we're looking here on what was once the property of Richard Good. His father, John Good, who moved from Illinois, he was getting older and not healthy. He came down to Florida for his health, and it did improve from what I've read. Now, John supposedly owned a lot of land south of Crane Creek. Now, the Little Red Schoolhouse, of course, was founded on the south side of Crane Creek, and John Good did build that Little Red Schoolhouse that is now on the grounds of FIT. And I always thought about them moving it, and why did they move it there? And as I've researched doing this video, Richard Good owned land up to about where FIT is, and probably part of the ground. So I'm thinking, amazing that a Little Red Schoolhouse that his dad built is now placed on the grounds of FIT. which quite possibly is part of the land that Richard Good once owned. Yes, here I am about to enter the cemetery. This is Melbourne Cemetery. I've been here a few times. I will be here many more times. So here we approach the gravesite of Richard and Jessie Good. Richard did so many things for the community, such a pioneer of Melbourne, and just a beautiful place here around much of his family. And one thing about Richard I also did not know, so I did some research. They were from Illinois, in the Chicago area. They were visiting Chicago, and Richard crossed the train track and was hit and killed by a train. That's what ended his life. I had no idea until I researched this. And they brought him back down here and laid him to rest. But wow, I had no idea that he was killed by a train, but certainly that's true. Now right next to Richard and Jessie is this small marker of James John Hogue, born in 1893. He's the son of Grace and James Hogue. Now on finding a grave, there is like no information on him other than he's born in 1893. So that's something I'm going to go back and work on. Just above the small marker is Richard Good. He's the son of Alex and Maisie Good. I guess his nickname was Dick, and he was born in 1904 and passed away in 1926. Now Harry Good, of course, he was the mayor of Melbourne. He was also a state representative and also owner of Harry Good's Outdoors, quite famous in the area during his time. And I'm sure he's going to come up in other videos. And here is Charles John Fraser Campbell. And again, right behind the Goods. Forever connected. You know, besides owning the Bellevue, he also owned the Gym Theater. But more importantly, and it's not talked about very much, he was Melbourne's first mayor. There should be a marker for that, I think. Harry Goods is over there, and deservedly so. The nice seal there. Not quite sure why Mr. Campbell doesn't have something similar. The man that built the Little Red Schoolhouse. Of course, here you have Alex and Maisie Good. Alex was the son of Richard and Jessie Good. Here's Alfred and Eve Good. Now, I tell you, I looked around. I did not know who their parents were. Now, they were buried in the family area, so clearly related, of course, but anyone knows exactly their lineage as far as their parents and such and children, let me know. Post a comment below. Well, thanks for watching my video. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon. We've been here before.